Well, we are often asked to demonstrate printing a GCAD Plus drawing to a fixed scale. As of course you know, everything in model space where we are now is drawn full size, and you lay out the drawing in a layout space, and if we click here, I've created a viewport, a layout that I've labelled Landscape Plan A3, and if we select the floating viewport on that page, and I've done that now, notice here in the properties box it's labelled viewport. Notice also I've made the colour 253 just so that we can pick it easily. You might want at a later stage to make that colour 255 so it disappears from view on the sheet. Let me demonstrate that. You could simply pick colour 2455 and the edge of the floating viewport won't show, and me unselect, or what I have done here is just put a rectangle with a corner radius, and I've given it a thickness of 0.3 millimeters on that sheet. Now let's go back and select the floating viewport. Notice the view scale 68.11, it's not to scale, and we could pick a fixed scale, and if I picked a fixed scale of say 50, it's going to magnify the view and we will lose what we want. So this A3 sheet, this is how we want to lay the drawing out, but it's not going to print to a fixed scale. In most metric parts of the world that use the metric system, your scales should be 1 to 50, 1 to 100, 1 to 200 and 1 to 500. Just don't have these odd scales because it makes no sense. But we can demonstrate and can print this drawing accurately to a fixed scale by simply using a different size sheet. So I went to Format, Layout, and I created a sheet which is A2 in size. Let me just select the tab and go to the Layouts Manager and see here it's an A2 sheet. So we're viewing now an A2 sheet, not an A3, and I'll do the same as I did before. Pick that grey out, whoops, that's a different one there. Pick the grey outline there, and notice here it's a view scale of 50. So we can say, do we want to print it as a fixed scale? And the answer is yes, and now we can print it. So let's go File and Print, and I've set as my printer a Qt PDF writer, but there are a number of other PDF writers you could use. Notice that I've got Fit to Paper ticked at the moment, and the scale says 1 equals 1004. We want it fixed scale, so we take that one off, and you can just take that. We're now going to print 1 to 1, so exactly print directly onto an A2 sheet, and it will give us exactly a scale of 1 to 50. So it's now printing, and we'll put it on the desktop as GCAD Plus drawing, and we'll save it. I've done a test, and let's now go to the desktop and open that GCAD Plus drawing. Here it is, and I'll open it with Adobe Acrobat, and there's our nicely produced drawing. Because it's a dear oh dear, sorry for emails coming in, I'll go full size here, and because it's a PDF file, it's written at high resolution, and we can go, maybe we'll go View and Zoom and Marquee Zoom, and just zoom in, and you can see the very fine level of detail that we've got in this print. So it's very easy to print to a fixed scale. So we could go back now into GCAD Plus and dive back into, no, not model space. I want to now dive into the title sheet in there, and I can edit it, and so we can now overtype this, and I've said here enter the scale, e.g. 1 to 100 on A3. So there's the text and the prompt. I'm getting ahead of myself, just bear with me for a moment. I'll close the block editor. That is selected here, and what we do, come over here, scale. We're told that I was looking then at the attribute, and I should say now landscape. Oh no, just scale 1 to 50 is scale, and at A2. The reason, and we just hit enter, and that should now populate that. So here it goes in here. We could quite possibly alter that text in there. It's a bit spaced out, isn't it? And we could improve on that just a little, or change our title block just a little more. So we now can print and we can edit the title block. Now, if we come back to the model here, and we print to, we use our quick way of printing, or we can do it from here. If we go File and let me zoom Extents, and we go File and Save as a PDF, that doesn't give you any ability whatsoever to print to a fixed scale. That box that we just saw doesn't pop up. We can do a version of it, and let's do it. Window it with maximum resolution, and we'll just put a box around and print. This time I'll call it a test PDF drawing. So it's been generated in a different way, not through a PDF writer. The resolution will be reasonable, but not of the same quality as you get when you use the direct print PDF. So if we go in here, view and zoom and marquee zoom, and come in here, we've got reasonable resolution, and that will work quickly, but it doesn't print full size. Sorry, it doesn't print to a fixed scale. So that's why it is important to include in model space some sort of direct scale. So here, if I've brought in one from the GCAD Plus details area, and if we use the distance tool and say what's the distance, remember we're going full size now, we're in model space, from there across to there, and there's 5 meters. So no matter how you print your drawing, if you always include a scale bar that's placed in model space within the view, any construction team worker who picks up the drawing, no matter what size it is, can in fact scale off if they need to. Of course, putting dimensions on is a much way of helping your design team to work. The other thing to mention, because it's been raised a lot, is I haven't got an A2 printer. How can I send this to my client? Well, you've generated a PDF print using either of those methods, and that can be sent. And if you've got an A3 printer attached to your computer, you can still print this to an A3, but as long as it's got that scale information on it, then you can be confident that someone won't look at the wrong piece of paper and scale off. So you've got an internal scale. I'm sorry that's so muddly, but so many people ask, they want to be able to print accurately, and we've had people getting technical rulers out and printing and checking in the print box. They sort of don't believe that it can be done, but if you follow those simple rules, it will be accurately printed at a fixed scale. So don't be frightened if it won't work on your sheet. Just do another layout sheet.